the new Elite Kure. In this video, folks, I am going to do an extensive review of the new Elite Kure for this year. And this bow that I'm holding is brand new, and I am going to give this bow away to one of my viewers in the month of August. And then I want to follow that individual. I'm hoping the individual hunts. Of course, if the winner doesn't, so be it. But if the person hunts, I want to check in with him or her during the hunting season to see how he or she is doing, and if he or she has had a chance to harvest anything with this brand new Elite Kure. The Elite Kure is one of my top picks of the year, and the technology in this bow this year for me is a game changer. They have the set technology, which enables you to essentially rock and pivot the limb system here to get perfect tuned arrow flight left and right. One of the drawbacks to Elite bows in the past was that they didn't have a yoke system on most of their bows for managing cam lean. So a lot of that type of tuning, you needed to shim the cam, which is, a little bit of a challenge and not a fun project. With this technology, you don't really need to do that anymore, and it's just a matter of turning a couple screws and you're getting perfect arrow flight. So I'll do a different video on tuning, and we'll test all the set technology out, see how much we can throw the bow off and how much we can put it right back into tune. For this video, what I'd like to do is shoot the bow at all of the draw lengths. It goes from 30 inch down to 23 inch. I want to check to see what's the change, if there is a change in the draw weight as we drop in draw length, because all of your more entry-level bows, as you drop draw length, you lose draw weight, which also means you'll lose speed. So if you're shooting a 70-pound limb at a draw weight like 25-inch draw weight, or draw length rather, your peak weight might be 65 pounds. So will the Elite Kure behave that way? I've been very curious, and I'm looking forward to find out. I'm also going to do a let-off speed test. So I'm going to set the bow. It goes from 70% let-off out to 90% let-off. And I'm going to shoot the bow at each of the let-offs, trying to get the same draw length. We're going to have to make some adjustments in order to change the let-off and still have the same draw length. So we'll try to keep it as close as possible, shooting the same arrow, and see if there's a change in speed. So I'm going to do a lot of that type of testing in this video. I'm going to tell you how to win this exact bow here. This is an $1,100 bow, folks. Somebody's going to get it for free, and I am even jealous of that person. When I learned about the technology in these bows this year, this is the bow I wanted to hunt with in the fall for deer. The challenge is it only goes to a 30-inch draw, and I'm actually a 31.5 inch. is the best draw length for me. So one of you is going to benefit from it. Another benefit for me, though, is that Elite was so generous. Not only did they give me this bow to give to you, they sent me a result for me to shoot, and I'm going to do a separate series of videos with the Elite result. For now, let's get going with this one. Let's start by taking a close look at some of the specifications of this bow and the new technologies that have gone into it. I measured the axle to axle length with this, and it came into 31 7/8 inch. The brace height measured 6 5/8. As I mentioned, the draw length range is 23 through 30. For the peak weight options, you can get a 40-pound limb, a 50-pound limb, 60-pound limb, 65-pound limb, and 70-pound limb. I personally like to shoot 65 pounds, so I'm so happy that you have the option of getting a 65-pound limb. The weight of the bow with the arrow rest installed came in at 4.94 pounds. As I mentioned, the set technology of this bow enables you to simply turn these screws right here, and that rocks the whole system. It changes the lean of the cams and things like that. Now, when you do make an adjustment here, you will need to check and maybe reset your center shot. I'll talk about that in the tuning video. For the cam this year, it's the ASIM tri-track cam system with the new Versa mod. It's a rotating module that enables you to get all the draw lengths with this one mod. You just rotate it. This I'm so excited about, and you don't need a bow press to be able to change the draw length. So in the past with Elites, you had to swap out modules, and sometimes you even needed a bow press to be able to swap out a mod. It has become so easy. I mean, Elite has really gone above and beyond to make this bow easily tunable this year, which is something that is exciting for me. So even with these changes, it still has that Elite feel that you're kind of used to with the solid back wall with the limb stop option. You also have a cable stop if you prefer that. And that up to 90% let off really makes it stay on that back wall really well. To change the let off, you simply loosen this screw right here, slide the cable stop piece, and that will actually decrease or increase the let off depending on which direction you're going. I also want to mention I really like this roller system for the cables. I mean, it is just awesome. At the peak draw weight, the maximum draw length is measuring right at 70 pounds and 30 7/8 inch draw length. So I'm getting about a 7/8 inch more than anticipated, but I'm sure if you were to reduce the let off, it's going to lower the draw length. Let's take a shot. I'll do a 350 grain, 450 grain, and 550 grain. Very solid back wall, even for just a cable stop. 334 feet per second, 450 grain. (301 feet per second). As you can see, the bow is very dead in the hand. It doesn't move when it goes off. (253 feet per second). I'm going to shoot the 550 grain again just to verify. So I might have kind of missed the sensors. .250, so that's it. Alright, so I've just tested it on all of the let off settings. This is the lowest let off setting, which is a 70% let off. My measurement came in at 83% for the highest let off setting. I'm measuring a little over 30 inch draw with this, 30 3/8. So I'm going to draw back, and I'm just going to show you. It comes off the back wall pretty easy at that 70%, which is what people would want with a low let off. And we're coming in at 325 feet per second at that draw length and let off. So we're decreasing let off, we're also decreasing draw length. So I'm going to run this test again. I just ran it for what is the speed at each let off setting. So there's 4 let off settings. My results were at the 83% let off, 30 7/8 inch draw length, 334 feet per second. At the 79% let off, 30 5/8 inch draw length, 332 feet per second. 73% let off, 30 1/2 inch draw length, 322 feet per second. And finally at the 70% let off, or 70% let off, 30 3/8 inch draw length, and 325 feet per second. Alright, this is the 29 inch draw setting, but it measures 30 inches on the dot. Came down 7/8 of an inch. 350 grain arrow. Really stays on the back wall well. 324. 450 grain arrow. .295, 550 grain arrow. .259. It's surprising that, so that 550 grain arrow at the 30 inch draw, which is the 29 inch draw setting, came in at 259 feet per second. When I was at the other draw length, the longer, 30 7/8, shoot that arrow twice because I thought it came in lower than I expected. And so that is a very weird phenomenon, that shortening the draw length with that the 550 grain arrow actually came up a little bit in speed. Alright, I verified it 3 times. This is the number 5 setting. The number 5 setting in the manual says 28-inch draw. I measured 29 on the dot, so coming in a little bit longer than what it's rated here, but this is back at the maximum let off. So if I was to reduce the let off, it's going to reduce the draw length, and so that could be related to their ratings. You know, maybe they base it off of the lowest percent let off is going to give you the shortest draw length, so maybe they're basing it on that. This is good information though to help you understand how to set up your bow. .309 feet per second with a 350 grain arrow. .286. That was 450 grain arrow. This is going to be the 550 grain arrow here. .242. I did notice a difference in the feel of the draw cycle. It as you hit the peak, it drops off. You feel more of a drop after the peak and early in the draw cycle at that draw length setting. So that's the number 5 setting. Alright, so now I'm on the number 7 setting, which is in the book 27-inch draw. I measured exactly 28-inch draw, and the let off came up a percentage point, came up to 86% let off. Here's the 350 grain arrow. It does, you know, at these draw lengths, the back half of the draw cycle is a lot easier than at the longer draw lengths. Dead in the hand, 300 feet per second. So again, I'm measuring 28-inch draw here on the 27-inch setting. The good thing the reason that's good information is if you go to set this to your draw length number and it doesn't quite feel right, you may have to drop it down to the next number. That's the 450 grain arrow, 272. Here comes the 550 grain arrow. 243. So it's interesting how at the first number 1 setting it was 30-inch and 7/8, and then when we dropped it down to the next setting it came down 7/8 of an inch, so it was at 30 on the dot. And our 550 grain arrow speed rating came up a little bit. For these next 2 draw length settings next to each other, once again the 550 grain arrow speed came up a little. This time it was like 1 foot per second. But that is an interesting dynamic to the physics of the way this bow is built. Alright, now I am at the number 9 setting, which is rated to be 26-inch draw. I measured 27 on the dot. The let off came up to 88% let off. The peak weight is still above 69 pounds. It came down a hair, 69.17 pounds. But as we reduce the draw length, we are maintaining for the most part draw weight, which is good to see. So if you're a 27-inch draw, you're going to still get basically 70 pounds. The draw cycle, as I said before, and it could just be also related to me being used to a longer draw length, but it feels to me that the halfway through it really kind of comes down. 282 feet per second for the 350 grain arrow. 450 grain arrow. .262, and the 550 grain arrow. .223. This is the number 11 setting. It's supposed to be 25-inch draw length. It is measuring 26 on the dot. Let's see what we get for speeds. It's 88% let off here. I mean, but it was a hair more, 88 point something really, but basically 88% let off. .277. That was the 350 grain arrow. Here comes the 450 grain arrow. .252. 550 grain arrow. .219. Alright, so at the number 13, is it 13? Yeah, 13 setting, supposed to be 24-inch draw length, came in at 24 3/4. So dropped down 1/4 of an inch. The let off was about 87%. This is a 350 grain arrow. The draw cycle has a different feel at that draw length setting, 267. The peak weight came up a hair compared to the previous draw length, and it has more of a rounded feel to it, whereas the last couple draw lengths came up and then it was more of a longer slope down on the back end. 239. All right, let's check the very last setting. All right, so at the final draw length setting, it's supposed to be 23 inches. It measured 23 and a half. So if you want to lower the let off, you're gonna end up at, that 23-inch draw length setting. The peak weight was about 68.27 pounds, which is good to see. It's good to see that even at the lowest draw length setting, you're maintaining the majority of that draw weight. So you could shoot almost 70 pounds at the 23-inch draw mod setting. The let off was a little bit lower. It was about 85% let off, so it came down a few percentage points from where it was at the last couple draw lengths. So 252 feet per second for the 350 grain arrow. 450 grain arrow will be 226. When you have this much weight and this short of a draw length, the draw cycle is a little weird. 194 for me. I'm just used to having more time to cycle through, but still maintain that dead in the hand, quiet and dead in the hand feel throughout. Okay, this is the 75% let off, 30-inch draw, just about 70 pounds, 319. Okay, this is 69% let off, basically 70. 30-inch draw on the nose, basically 70 pounds, so yep, comes off easy. 304. So there you have it. I've always had people say that you get more speed with a lower let off. In this test, that is not the case. It kind of fluctuated a little bit. And keep in mind, I am rotating the draw module in order to maintain 30-inch draw. So when you're changing the let off, this piece here, I mean, from here to here, you're looking at 3/8 of an inch, close to a half an inch even. And in order to compensate for that, you have to rotate the draw mod. Now, as you can see, there's an ovular shape, oval shape to the mod. And as you rotate it, that changes the geometry of everything, or the physics, or whatever you call it. And with this particular draw mod, changing the let off, you don't necessarily gain speed by having a lower let off with this. Actually, the peak speed, the best speed, was with the highest possible let off at that draw length. So, first impressions, this is a smooth bow. I like it. This data is helpful for people to have a realistic expectation. You know, bows, compound bows are machines, and a lot of times you get one number and then you try to apply it to all the draw lengths, and that's not necessarily the case. When it comes to speed, let off, we saw that the let off fluctuated as the draw mod rotated, things like that. We see how the speed drops. I was happy to see that this bow maintains the draw weight as it goes down in draw length. So if you're wanting to shoot right at that 70-pound mark, even with the lowest draw length, you're pretty much going to be right there within a pound. The next video I'm going to try doing the tuning with this. I'm actually going to pivot the pocket. I'm going to intentionally throw it out of tune, see how difficult it is to put it back in tune, and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that video. And I am giving this bow away, and what I've been doing is putting a scripture verse in each episode. And then in August, I'm going to call somebody live and say, hey, what was the scripture verse from a particular episode? If you get it right, you win the bow. The scripture verse for this episode is Colossians 1:24. I really like the finish of these bows. Really looks great. Has a high quality feel to it as well. I've had some bows where the camouflage, coating scratches off real easy. This feels like a fairly durable coating compared to some of the bows I've had. I'm definitely proud of Elite. They make a quality bow. And really, if this just had about a ½ inch more draw length to it, I wouldn't be able to give it away. I'd have to shoot it this year as my hunting bow. I really like these bows, and one of you is going to get this bow, and I'm excited for that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care, and God bless.